Just take one hit. Don't you want to be cool?
Gather round everyone. The show's about to begin.
Turn on, tune in, drop out, this show's amazing. It's Super Lemon Haze, you know them boys always blazing. Put one in the air, fill your glass and get to raising. Kirkman praising, school flag waving. Chopping up the topics as they're choking on some chronic. Scott and Eric breaking it down like 21st century prophets. Eyes glazed and minds dazed, it's knowledge they convey. Roll up and consume the Super Lemon Haze.
Super Lemon Haze.
Going to ask you several questions.
Super Lemon Haze.
How do you feel? I feel like a slice of butter melting on top of a big old pile of flapjacks. Yeah.
What do we got?
Super Lemon Haze.
Super Lemon Haze.
That sounds much better now that you turned me up.
We're always fucking around with these things. We got a special show today. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah.
Our next guest, I don't know. I feel like I know him, and I've never met him before.
This is our guy.
Steve, we're going to bring you in, my motherfucker.
Let's just do it.
Yo.
All right. What's up, fellas? How we doing?
What's going on, man? Hold on, let me fix the screen. I just got off watching your show.
Oh, cool. How'd you like it? Was it all right?
Yeah, it was funny because I've listened to a lot of Steve lately.
Yeah.
That's a good thing though. But I think I'm always behind on the YouTubes. But similar to what you always say, like I always try to show my support. But I'm not traveling anymore, so everything I do has to be in the home. And so it's like it's like a toss up between, all right, do I catch up on the KMS show? Do I catch up on the YouTube? Do I go on the fucking Twitter? Like all of this is entertaining shit, but there's not much time for everything.
Yeah, I'm lucky in the fact that with my work, I drive a gas tanker.
Yeah.
And so I go on like 2-3 hour drives. So I'm able to punch up a YouTube show and listen to it in its entirety. So I'm kind of privileged in that, right? In the fact that I'm able to catch up, pretty much as soon as it comes out. Whereas when I'm home with my kids or something like that, it's basically impossible.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to play a game with your kids and you're listening to any of the shows that you got to have your earphones in because you don't know what kind of words are going to drop while you got a 13-year-old around. So I understand that completely. It is tough. And there's a lot. The good thing about it is what Kirk and Steve have developed, there is so much content out there right now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you fall a couple days behind, you literally are screwed.
That's my biggest problem. And I mean, it's worse now, like you said, Steve, with the quarantine, because, now I got and I've got an AirPod Pro, so it kind of like cancels out the noise. It's one of those newer ones now. So I can't even, if I'm not paying attention or listening, I could be like, I get lost and listening to a podcast or something. And then 3-year-old screaming and next thing I know, I'm busted. Yeah. You got to be careful.
Yeah. The amazing thing is
I'm jealous in that respect. It's cool.
The amazing thing is, Steve, is that like everything to me, I guess, it's so entertaining. You know what I mean? So like that's what I was trying to say is like, last night I had just put the baby down, right? So it's like 9:30, and I get this I have this window of time between putting the baby down, doing the getting washed up, and then going to bed, and that's usually my Twitter time when I'm just catching up on what happens at the end of the day. Fucking 9:30 at night.
Yeah. Have you guys listened to the show today? Did you guys catch up on the whole show today?
No, let me finish the story real quick. But no, I'm too behind. See, that's the thing, because what happened last night is I fucking turn on the Twitter at 9:30 night, and in my face is a fucking 14-inch cock, white cock slapping around, and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? Why am I looking at this? And I it's like one of those things where I'm not one that searches for gay porn, but this is in my face. It went on for 10 seconds. I was like, oh, I hope no one sees me do this. And then I realized it's what the fuck. I'm then obviously it came from BA's account.
Yeah.
And I fucking texted him and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then I caught up on all that shit.
Well,
do you know what happened?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Last night was a disaster.
I know.
It was literally, it got out of hand and it went from 0 to 100 so quickly. And
let's fill in Scott real quick. Steve, if you wouldn't mind. Can you fill him in?
So last night Closet Case and Penis Head, which are better known as Quantum Week. And
Another
yeah,
show.
I heard Kirk talk about
okay,
Quantum Week this
okay.
morning.
Yeah,
too, so
so-
I heard the references already.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so they made a begrudging statement against Mariah Carey
Mariah,
and her,
okay, yeah,
and her
yeah.
abilities, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
Yeah.
which I didn't even know these people existed,
No, me neither.
were thousands, well, hundreds.
Yeah.
of
There's
Mariah
they were
Carey fans.
aggressive. I have
Oh,
seen
they
this
were-
on Twitter. Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Super
yeah.
aggressive,
Yeah.
and they just went at everyone, and that is for me laying in bed laughing and giggling like it was the best hour and a half, 2 hours.
Seeing that blind prison Mike was turned into a rapist and is basically getting and him signing off of Twitter I'll see you folks.
Yeah.
This is gonna be bad. Awesome.
The funny thing was, I'm sorry, Steve, you go.
So it's 9:00 at night right now on what is it, Thursday. And I just I was gonna bust his balls. What is it, Quantum Week, Chris? I was gonna send him a message saying, "You okay? Have you found a hiding place yet?"
Yeah.
He deleted his Twitter account.
He did, and
I
just saw that, and so someone posted a snapshot of it. I'm like, it didn't seem like. I guess
I didn't think things escalated that bad.
I mean, I guess it's like the numbers thing, right? Because I guess once they start tagging your name, that's it, right? Once you get hundreds of people tagging your name, then you're fucked. So I guess that was his only option, was just
he's
just
gone.
kill it.
He's fucking gone.
He's dead. He died.
And it makes me laugh. That stuff. He seems like a gent. I don't know him.
Yeah, I don't either.
He seems like a nice guy. He's the creepiest looking person I've ever seen in my life. But to see him resort to just running and hiding, now, that makes it makes.
Oh,
Make
man.
a couple of disparaging comments about Mariah, and it's over. Oh.
Yeah, but the funny thing was, and this is where I was trying to get. It was who won, right? I actually think we may have been the underdog. No, I think they were the underdogs in that fight, and I feel like we fucking took an L. We took a big L.
I don't know that So Kirk has about 100,000 listeners per episode.
Yeah.
He says on a number of times, maybe 15 to 20% are on Twitter, and there was a large majority that just don't have social media, that just listen to the show and move on throughout their day.
Yeah.
And I felt like we got fucking dwarfed last night. They were they came out, I was getting hit.
Yeah.
I said one thing.
Yeah.
And the next thing, my DMs are loaded with people saying I'm a racist bigot. And I was like, I'm half Puerto Rican, lady. What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't know what
they
to
were
do.
fighting fucking dirty. And I feel like that's where we were the most unprepared, right? Because they, I'm not telling you, within moments, gay porn, racist slur, everything, homophobic, everything under the bus.
Yeah, I literally seen and I think this might be what you're referring to, Big Red, or he sent a message. Then the next thing you know, there's a picture coming up of some guy slapping his big old dick around, and I'm where the fuck did this come from?
No,
He just said that.
Yeah.
He just said Mariah Carey wasn't that talented. Cocks are coming out of everywhere. So that's, for me, that's the best kind of entertainment. I can laugh at that for hours.
And it's fucking free, and it's just that's what I'm saying is there are moments where I don't know where I want to go. It's either go to the Discord, go to the Twitter, go to KMS. I'm just eating this shit up, and I find it so fucking funny.
Yeah, it is.
So
It's a good
hilarious.
time. This is what, in all honesty, this is the kind of thing that has been around for years with Kirk, as far as just fun stuff like this. Sometimes it gets too personal. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think it was fun yesterday, but I could see where Chris, maybe he's never been involved in something like that, to where he goes in full panic mode.
Yeah.
And he just freaking says, "Fuck this! I'm deactivating my account and running." But this, in all actual way, it's fun, man. It's fun. We're just having a good time.
Yeah.
Do you really think that a bunch of Mariah Carey fans are really gonna hunt you down?
No,
and
I mean
take you
they're worrying about doxing people. People just that's because that's
they're
when
hitting
you
the report button and talking shit. That's about it.
when you say that, that's what scares people.
Well, I had to be quite honest. So myself, I try and enjoy it. I bust balls. Nothing that I ever say really is meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Carano took a few things that I had said a little bit too seriously, and felt the need to maybe block me That's
Yeah,
fine.
you said that. I heard you say that the other day.
But I mean, like it just it is what it is. As far as like I bust balls.
Yeah.
I have fun. Listen, I'm 40 years old. Like,
Right.
do you really think that I give a shit what you do in life or the
Yeah.
kind of product that you put on? I'm just having fun.
So
But
he hasn't opened it back up yet. So you're still
I
blocking
don't.
the
I
account?
haven't even looked
Oh.
at it. But like something like yesterday, like you can't take it too seriously.
No.
But you also
None
got
of
to keep
it.
in mind that, and what I discovered yesterday, because I never encountered anything like this, there are fans that are just as passionate about something as we are
Totally.
about
That was
Kirk.
my learning lesson. I had
I
no
was
idea
fucking
Mariah.
shocked.
I didn't
Like,
know idea Mariah
look,
Carey
still go. It's been almost 24
Yeah,
hours and they're
still
still
going.
going at it.
Still
got her
going.
So,
own
good for
corner
them.
of Twitter. Good
Right.
for her. And
Yeah.
and good for them. Seriously.
Yeah.
Unreal.
I heard. I mean, I wasn't sure if it was real, but was Steve trying to get them on to the show? Was he?
Yeah,
tweeting-
he was.
He was
He
tweeting at
tried
them,
to
right?
get some of them on.
Yeah.
The good thing about Kirk, now I don't know your gentleman's history with him, but that he will never ever shy down
Yeah.
from like some kind of argument or some
Right.
kind of engagement. He will always try
Yeah.
and get them on, and
Yeah.
and it didn't work so much. But hey,
Yeah.
it was worth a try.
It was. I mean, either way. I mean, I didn't listen to today's show yet, but it looks like just based on the title, they spent a lot of time talking.
So you're
about
2
it.
days behind.
I am. See,
Skip
that's
the last
the challenge.
skip the
Yeah.
last 2 days. They're
right
all
to
good
it?
shows, and you'll never ever get me to say anything bad about any show.
Yeah. Right.
But listen to today's. When you get done tonight, listen to today's show.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just finished the Apple one, so I'm on Tuesdays. I'm on Tuesdays.
Well, anything about Riccio, he's a piece of shit in life.
Yeah.
He's just a scumbag. Anything about him, it's not that it's missable,
Yeah.
but he's always been a piece of shit. So you will learn nothing new about him. So
Yeah.
if you haven't listened, if you haven't listened to anything about him, just skip ahead.
Yeah.
Today's show was a must listen from start to end. It was fucking funny.
Yeah. The Riccio thing was does that go beyond this podcast? So is this something?
What he is, Riccio is a troll.
Yeah.
He's just a fucking a person that his brother was
Yeah.
very successful in life.
Yeah, that's
He's
what I hear.
basically he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So he
But was-
tries
was
he
he a
tries to make
factor-
himself relevant
Yeah.
by just trolling people that are more successful than himself.
Yeah. So was he a factor though when Kirk was on the radio, or did he just start to get involved with this
No,
world?
he's been around for
A while?
5 years or something like that. He's always went above and beyond what would normally be expected of someone that had a contradictory opinion about
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
He goes for the low blow.
Yeah.
He has had some sort of relationship one way or another with Shirley.
It all fucking ties together, doesn't
Oh
it?
yeah, they're all
That
shit
fucking
bags.
web.
But he is just he's an unemployed
Yeah.
scumbag
Right.
that just goes for the low blow.
Yeah.
He tries to make himself relevant every now and then.
Yeah.
And then when people confront him with certain things, factual opinions,
Yeah.
he runs and hides for a couple months, and he'll come back.
Yeah.
He's a piece of garbage. He's the lowest common denominator. He's just garbage in life.
Yeah, I never got a chance to see what he did over the weekend. I guess I mean I heard he was obviously posting some pictures of Kirk's family, but I never got a chance to see it because I think everything was deleted. And I guess somehow I was blocked. I mean, before I even like interacted with the guy, but of course, once I found out about it, I'm like, I'm going fucking right on this page. And
Well,
I couldn't
basically,
get it.
Kirk had done it before Kirk's current podcast. He'd done one. It was called Enough About Me.
Yeah. Yep.
He had done it when he was at EEI. He would do them like maybe once a week, one every other week.
Yeah.
And then when he left that place, he did Enough About Me episode strictly
Mhm.
when he wasn't on TV or doing something else. And Riccio was on one of his podcasts.
Yep, I heard.
And when
part
he
of
was
that, yeah.
on there, you would think that he paid Riccio $100 to suck his dick.
Yeah.
Because the whole time he was just
Yeah.
agreeing with them and apologizing to him.
Yeah.
And then once he gets off of that, he goes back to his normal routine of just being a troll.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I guess you just have to expect what it is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's not John Henry. He's not. I mean,
No.
he's not.
He is
he's
the
not
guy.
He's not a big guy. You can't.
No.
What are you gonna do to fucking? I mean, and I know that's why that was the Kirk's Apple episode, right? He just like, I can't do anything to this guy, but maybe I could fuck with his brother a little bit.
No,
but
that's the thing. So his
I
brother is a successful Apple executive.
yeah,
He works in the engineering department. He's a successful guy.
yeah. It sounds like
And
he's
then
worth.
you have a brother that is basically living on welfare.
Yeah.
He started collecting welfare in his 40s. He's
Yeah.
a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He does nothing with his life, and he's trying to be somewhat successful in his own mind by being a troll to a very successful podcaster.
Yeah.
That in his way is success.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
he's trash. It's not even worth your
Yeah.
time.
Let's get into what we wanted you on here for.
Sure.
All right. So you ready for that?
Always ready for anything. Whatever you guys want.
So, I was listening to the Minifan podcast that you were on the other day with TJ, yourself, and obviously DEC, the host. And we have had the topic of veterans come up multiple times, especially because we're trying to bring it back to kind of current events when it comes to the cannabis stuff. And what I heard in your time with DEC, and I sent this clip to Scott, but it sounded like when you guys were going through the motions of saying, all right, well, if we weren't going to talk about the KMS channel, what will we talk about if we want to do a podcast? And something that you said was obviously the military. And I knew, I just from maybe hearing about it before, that you did have some military experience, but I wasn't actually 100% sure that you served. So
yeah,
I think, Scott and I chatted a little bit. We're like, let's get Steve on. I mean, because we've been talking about it a little bit offline, you and I, about trying to get you on, and it's been a couple of weeks, but this made sense to me because there's a lot of stuff going on right now with vets and with the cannabis stuff, and so I guess the first thing that I want to know from you is, tell me about your service, man.
Sure. So I was the typical kid out of high school that had no direction. I had to graduate in the summer because I didn't pay attention to my classes when I was in school, and had to go to summer school in order to get my diploma. Was very little direction, so I joined the Marine Corps. I had a couple relatives that went in the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
So
what year is this?
96 to 2000, I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So I was in during a non-war time frame.
Mm-hmm.
I believe President Clinton was in office at the time. There was nothing that was going on during that time. And I was basically one of the guys. I mean, when you get out and you're not very good in the books,
Mm-hmm.
you can either go to work, become a lazy piece of shit, or join the military.
Yeah.
My father gave me the options of getting a job or going in the military. And I mean, I had no direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be the best route. It actually ended up being the best route for myself.
Yeah. What made you choose the Marines over any of the?
I had 3 relatives that were in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Before me. One of my wrestling I wrestled in high school. One of the guys that I was in went into the Marine Corps, and it was just the most common sense decision for myself to make.
So what was that experience like? So you went to boot camp, obviously. What was?
Yeah, went to 29 Palms, not 29 Palms, Paris Island. Great play. It was good. In retrospect, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun. I miss it now that I'm not in.
What do you miss? Just the camaraderie or the physical activity of it?
My oldest boy's godfather was my bunk mate for 6 months, 7 months. Mm-hmm. Great guy. I still keep in contact with a lot of the guys that I was in with. We still have this big group chat that we're in. This thing goes back 3 years. Mm-hmm. We send dick pictures to each other. We send pictures of fucking the most obese women you could ever imagine to each other. Like, we had a really good time. We lived it up. Like I said, we were not in during wartime. Like, those poor guys right now, I can't imagine what their life is like. Mm-hmm. Just the stress and everything that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
So did some of your guys go back and go to multiple tours after?
Yeah. So when you get out, when you're 3 years and change in, you start to figure out if you're going to stay in or you're going to get out. Mm-hmm. My decision was I wanted to get out because I was in a horrendous duty station. I was in 29 Palms, California, which is in between Las Vegas and Palm Springs. So basically you're in the desert. Mm-hmm. Before that, I was in northern Washington, right near Seattle. Which, if you could have told me I was going to spend 20 years in there, that was a fantastic duty station. But once I was in the desert for a year and a half, I was like, I completely had enough. You don't know where your next place is going to be if you re-enlist for another 4 years. Basically, they're split up into 4 year. Every time you re-enlist, it's for 4 years. So you could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And
are you born and raised in Rhode Island?
Yeah, I was in Rhode Island the whole time.
Gotcha.
And you don't know where you're going to go for the next 4 years. And I said, I put in for Hawaii. It wasn't guaranteed. I said, I'm gonna get out.
Yeah.
So you're a truck driver now, Steve. Were you
Yes, I
trained
drive
as
a gas tanker.
were you a machine operator or a equipment operator in the service too? Were you
No,
trained in that originally? What'd you do for them?
I was in 8152, which was a Marine security guard for 2 years. I guarded nuclear weapons.
Mm.
And then for my last year and change, I was in 0341, which is a mortarman. There was, like I said, there's no wartime when I was in. So
Mhm.
basically, you spend your days, you go to the range,
Mhm.
and then you would clean weapons for the other half of the day, and then you would go exercise. So
you ended, you said in 2000?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously 2001 was the year, but like what was there anything, because I'm trying to think, when was like the Cole bombing, the boat bombing? Like what was the USS Cole? Do you remember when that
Yeah,
was?
I do remember that. There was nothing, literally nothing, that took place. You couldn't have picked
Yeah.
a more boring 4 years than from
Yeah.
1996 to
Really?
2000. Yes.
Did a lot of people drop out after that just because of the like inactivity?
No,
and
actually, a lot of people stayed in because
because they thought it
you
would just
think-
be
was a
benign.
gig, yeah, it was a
think about it. So you don't make a lot of money
Yeah.
when you're in the military. When you're single living on base, you do
Yeah.
not make a lot of money whatsoever.
Yeah.
Supposedly the pay scale has advanced,
Mhm.
but when you
Can you give us an example? I mean, what was it?
I made $250 a week.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
that's not
so I would get a check every 2 weeks for like $560 maybe.
right.
I looked at my last pay. I was going through some paperwork because my oldest boy is getting ready to go to college.
Yeah.
And I had to get some paperwork to apply for some military benefits. And my last paychecks as a sergeant, which is an E5, with basically almost 4 years in, I was making just under $600 every 2 weeks. You don't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you have no expenses though, obviously, right? Or
yeah,
like
well,
very
so-
little, minimal expenses,
Yeah,
right?
so you get fed 3 times a day. You
Mhm.
don't pay for your housing.
Mhm.
Pretty much everything is provided for you, unless we used to go to Las Vegas a lot. So we would get fucked up, but there'd be
Good
12
times.
guys sleeping in a hotel room,
Yeah.
and like basically you'd be sleeping on one side of the bed, and on the other half of the bed there's some guy fucking some skank, and you gotta keep your fingers in your ear so you don't hear him, and you'd be like, listen, get this trash. I could smell it from over here. Get her
Yeah.
out of here.
So can I ask you, when you were doing the Vegas trips, were you guys going down as like Marines, or were you just like, fuck it, you're just going down as like kids? Like what were you?
We would go and just, so there was some guys that would wear like their it's fucking embarrassing, but so when you're in the Marine Corps, everything has your name on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically your shirts have your name on it somewhere hidden inside the inside.
Yeah.
There was guys that would wear their underwear. They were tighty whities, and you see their name across it. You're like, what is this douchebag doing? Like, you try and give him some money to go to Kmart to buy some regular underwear, or something like that. But no, you go down there just as regular guys.
Right.
But you'd have the haircuts.
Yeah.
And, like,
and you're
you
walking a
can't-
pack.
Yeah,
so
you're
Yeah, and you got to
Identifiable.
be careful because you can't get in trouble. If you get in trouble when you're in
Yeah.
the Marine Corps and it gets back to your base commander, you're
Yeah.
absolutely screwed. And the first thing
Right.
that they want to do from you is take your money. They
Yeah.
want to take your rank and your liberty privileges, which is your
Right.
time off, gets restricted down to nothing. So
Yeah.
you're kind of careful,
Yeah.
but you go and try and have as much fun as possible.
But Right. like, just
Yeah,
don't
we
get
got lucky
fucking
a
caught.
lot, whereas a lot of former Marines that we had been friends with would become cops in Las Vegas or in Los Angeles.
Nice.
We had a lot of friends, so we
Yeah.
did enjoy our time a lot. We enjoyed ourselves probably a lot more in retrospect than we should have. But yeah, you always try and conduct yourself in somewhat of a professional manner.
Right.
More than like if you'd had 10 Marines and 10 college kids, you could tell that these guys had something to worry about when they got back home. Whereas these kids, depended on their parents pretty much for the support. And if they were going to get in trouble, it meant a big difference if one group got into trouble or not.
Right. So you spent 4 years there, and what did you come out of there with? Like, what aside from obviously the friends and the bonds, what skills did you come out of there with that you thought that you could apply? What was the?
You know what, man? To be quite honest with you,
Yeah.
the only thing that I came out of there with, was maybe a sense of integrity.
Mhm.
Nothing that I learned in the Marine Corps could be transferred to civilian life.
Because
Because the Marines are basically built on the fact, unless you're admin,
yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna be? anyone that repairs a Humvee could maybe become a diesel mechanic.
Yeah.
But a mortarman, I don't see very many civilians walking around with 81 millimeter mortars on their back.
No.
You're not playing
there's
with
not a
grids.
lot
You're
of
not playing with grids, little computer
Yeah,
grids, and trying to
yeah.
find like
There's
battleships.
There's not a
Steve,
lot of
no?
forward operators that are just walking around. I mean, maybe surveying.
Yeah.
I don't. There's not a lot
counting
that,
meters and clicks and
yeah,
things. Yeah.
There's not a lot of stuff that transfers. And the other branches there are. That's why, you know, I if any people that I know, their kids are talking to me and they say I want to go in the Marines, go in the Air Force or the Coast Guard or something like that. I tell them to always find a branch that they can get a job that transfers into something that they can go into civilian life with.
So what's the mentality of a person that goes into the Marines then? Like, is it just to fucking like be the toughest guy there? Like, what are you getting then from that? Like, who would you advise to go into the Marines then?
Someone that I'd met a lot of guys in there, a lot of guys that didn't have family or very limited amount of family.
Yeah.
Guys like myself that didn't have a very good understanding of how important education was. Because you can make a living out of it. You spend 20 years. There's guys that, so I am 40 years old now. There's guys that got out at 38, 39 years old that have some sort of retirement after, and they're in the young, they're still in the early part of their lives. Whereas maybe if they had went into the civilian world right after high school, they would be, it's not to shit on anyone, but maybe they would have a very low level job to which they wouldn't accomplish a lot in their life. And so I got a lot of integrity out of the deal. It matured me very quickly. I was lucky enough to where I moved up the ranks pretty quickly. And in E5 in 4 years is pretty good. There's only 9 ranks in enlisted. And I was in E5 out of 9 in 3.5 years. So I done well that way. So it gave me a lot of responsibility, a lot of appreciation. But then when you get out, the thing that I always tell people, if you go in the Marine Corps and you don't specialize in something or any branch of the military that can support you when you get out, you're pretty much just like a kid out of high school that maybe has a little bit of life experience.
Yeah. Is it a son or daughter going into college?
I have 2 boys. My oldest is he's going to be a nurse practitioner. He got into a 6-year program to be a nurse practitioner. Yeah, so he does well. He's the exact opposite of me. He's a very big kid, great sports player, and very smart. So
good for him.
It's actually field to get into right now, I'd say as well.
I looked into that.
Demand. I don't think he'll be looking for work anytime soon. Is my guess.
That's the best thing I told him. You know, I don't want you to go to school to be a major in like graphic design or art or something. I think we all want as parents to have our kids have a better life than ourselves.
Yeah.
So when I'm working 60 hours a week to make a couple $1,000s, I would, and I FaceTime them all the time when I'm standing out in the rain making a gas delivery or it's snowing on me. And I'm like, you guys can either go to school and live a normal life where you get up at 8 in the morning rather than be at work for 2 o'clock in the morning like I have to be, or you can just do like I did and be fucking lazy and stupid and try and chase around girls, and you'll end up doing my sort of life to where you're always tired, you're always drunk, and you're pretty much regretting every decision that you ever made in your life.
So we just, funny you say, so your kid is going into college. He's 18. You're 40. What?
I just turned 41. Yeah.
So you motherfucker had a very young child. So you just left. You just left the military and you became a father. I
was getting a lot of pussy when I was young.
I've seen that picture in the beginning of your intro. Really good, you're ripped, man.
I hit the wall. So now there's not so much, but I did pretty good for myself when I was young. And
we're all the same age, by the way. So
I had a kid when I was young. So, but then I had another one. But very good. I couldn't be prouder of my boys. Couldn't be prouder.
Good for you.
So right back to Rhode Island, right after you.
I came back after the Marine Corps. I was going to be home for a month, and I was scheduled to go out to Kitsap, Washington. I was going to be a sheriff.
I heard you say this. Yeah, you said this on
so
DC.
I got out on May 23rd of 2000. I was supposed to leave on June 18th or June 19th. It was a Monday. My father died on Father's Day of 2000. Jesus. So I had called up and requested to report late to the academy. It was a no-go. I got pushed to the back of the line, and I would have had to wait another year. So within that time frame, I decided it would be a really good idea to get a girl pregnant and pretty much all the decisions got thrown out the window. All my plans got fucked. So nothing worked out the way I wanted it to.
Got it.
Yeah, I heard you talk about your dad again today on that
Yeah.
show. So it's not. It sounds. I mean, because it's funny, you know.
All three of us.
Yeah, I know. We both lost our fathers.
Yep.
It's amazing. I mean, like it's definitely like I mean, this is the age, unfortunately. I mean, we both lost our parents younger, but I mean, it's like now we're sort of in that period, and it's losing a parent. You can't. There's nothing that prepares you for that. I mean,
no, especially when. So you got to figure. I was out for I think like 3 weeks or something like that. Not what I was expecting. The last thing that maybe I was expecting during that month that I was planning on being home. I was just gonna have a good time for that month, enjoy myself, work out,
have a good time,
get ready. And then I get a call. I just bought a cell phone a few days before that happened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it was around 2000. I bought my first cell phone.
I think that was mine
and
too.
my mother had it on me. I had the number. I don't know. I wrote it down. I threw it on a piece of paper, and luckily she had it. I was actually on a date with a girl, and I got a call saying go to the hospital. But I can't explain the feeling that I had.
Yeah.
I knew what had happened. She told me to just go to the hospital.
Was he ill, or was it? What was?
No, he just had 52 years old. He had a sudden heart attack.
Yeah.
And it just happened all of a sudden. Wasn't expecting it. Took it very hard.
Yeah.
And that's why, in a way, like I with your guys' show that you guys do, I wish maybe I would have explored other ways to maybe help myself out with a lot of the anxiety and the depression that I had at the time, rather than go the route that I did.
Which was?
A lot of drinking. So today I spent some time with my boys. We went out. There's only so many basketball games that I could play.
Yeah.
Just been spending a lot of times. We're locked in the house.
Yeah.
Fucking board games. I'm sick of them. We play a lot of. I played more basketball in the last 8 weeks than I did throughout my whole youth. But I kind of have a problem where I drink. And like tonight I'm drinking. Yeah. Last night I drink too much. It's something that I'm going to look into. Maybe helping myself out a little bit. But
has it ever become more than, like, I mean, obviously there's like a threshold, right, where it's like I drink too much, and then it's like, no, I'm not well.
I like this is fucking stupid, but I like the feeling that I have when I have a few drinks. Yeah, that's just me, just because it kind of mellows all the issues that I have outside of it. Yeah. But I get piss tested once every 3 weeks. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Can't. So that's why, like, I admire you guys for the talks that you have and the things that you openly discuss. I can't go that route.
Can't touch that. Yeah.
There's nothing that I can do, and I would like to try it because I would assume that if I was to buy a vape pen, throw maybe some of the stuff that you guys describe in there, take a couple hits of that, it would probably be more healthier than drinking a 12-pack a night.
It definitely replaces that sixer for sure. I don't know about the 12, but it definitely takes that edge off for sure. Yeah.
But when you just curious, when you do the piss test, does alcohol? There's no alcohol.
We get breathalyzers maybe once every month, every couple of months, random. Yeah. We'll go in at 2:00 in the morning for our shift, and there'll be someone waiting for us. Yeah. And they'll give you a random breathalyzer. Yeah. And the for a normal person, 0.08 is the limit. Yeah. For a gasoline driver or a hazmat driver, it's 0.02. Yeah. So you can't have a drink 8 hours before your shift. Yeah. So how do you manage that, knowing that you enjoy the feeling? Like, what's that like? It's it's kind of embarrassing, but sometimes I will pound some when I get home. Sometimes it's beer, sometimes it's hard stuff. But I don't do it around my kids, so I kind of rationalize it in my head where if I'm by myself, I'm not hurting anyone. But sometimes I'll just fucking come home and pound 6 beers within an hour. And keeping in mind that I got a few hours before I got to go to bed in order to go to work, but I try and keep it within that 8 hours time frame. Sometimes I go over. I mean, I'm not going to lie and sit here that I haven't went to work hungover or anything like that, feeling like shit. Yeah. But I try and mask it as much as possible, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. When you said that your dad was unhealthy, was it alcohol related then, or was it just like smoking, drink? Like what was his thing? Now he was my adopted father. Okay. My biological father was a piece of shit in life. He disappeared when I was 6 years old. Yeah. So my adopted father, who was great, Worked very hard, worked 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
On his Saturday nights and Sundays, he would put down each night a bottle of Absolute and cranberry. But he wasn't like, he was a fun guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
he would get drunk and like he was very generous. He was a nice guy. He was funny. He lived a very hard life. He would work 6 days a week. Just a very tough life.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have showed me a picture of my father on a treadmill, you could have knocked me over with a feather because he never exercised a day in his life, to my knowledge. But
what age were you adopted? Just how? I'm just curious.
I was 16.
Okay.
16 years old. 16.
Mm-hmm.
So, good guy though, solid guy, but just lived a very unhealthy lifestyle. And, I seen some pictures of him right before he died when I was away.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to show me a picture of this guy, I would say that guy doesn't have long for this place.
So you had about what 5-6 years with him before that happened?
Well, he was around when I was a kid. So basically,
I see.
My mother, who I don't talk to at all, was her and I had a very toxic relationship.
I heard you tell that story too, man.
So her and I just, I still haven't talked to her. So I haven't seen her, had a conversation with her in 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you could not have got me out of that house fat. So from the time I graduated, I basically sprinted to go to basic training.
Mm-hmm.
I could not wait to get out of it. Not a very good person. In my eyes, maybe to other people, she's great.
Yeah,
Her and I didn't get along. And our lives are better that we don't communicate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but my father, even though he wasn't my biological father, he adopted me.
Mm-hmm.
And he took care of every need that I had from when I was younger till he adopted me and took care of me until he died. Good guy, solid guy. And I try and, even though I'm more active in my kids' lives every day as far as, coaching or, just a simple I love you, I'm more active that route with them than he was. He was more of a provider type, old school guy. Left school in ninth grade, I believe he dropped out of school to work. So he was more of a, I got to work, make money, provide for my family rather than emotional support or something like that, where I try and do both. Just based on maybe simple aspects that I think I may have missed out on as a kid. Yeah.
Well, you always, everybody's got to do better on the next generation, bud. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's funny because with my kids, so that was the tragedy with my dad's passing, because he died at 61 from a sudden cardiac event. But the problem was that there was not even a chance for survival because he was basically alone in the home when it happened. And his first grandchild was 2 weeks away from being born, and now he has 9. So, the one thing that my siblings and I always say is that, all of our kids, so we all have 3, my brother, my sister, and I all have 3. And we all say to them that the greatest thing, because they all know him, through pictures, and, my mom's still alive and she obviously talks about him a lot. But I always say, like, if you know and love and appreciate the way that we are as fathers and mothers, that's what my father did to us. My father was always like the biggest cheerleader. He showed up to every athletic event. Like, he was there to pat me on the back for everything that I was ever doing. Always there to pick me up when I was fucking drunk off my face and I couldn't go. My dad was there for me for all of those times. And so that's the greatest gift, at least that he gave us. Yeah. What do you think that your father, what did your father give you? Do you think that you pass along to yours?
Well, I got into a lot of trouble when I was in high school, a fucking lot of trouble. And he's, I'm not going to shy away from it. He's bailed me out of jail. I thought it would be a good idea. So my neighbors were selling their house and they moved to Florida. So me and my buddies were looking for a place to get drunk one night. And I was, I think, a senior in high school. And I thought it would be a great idea to have everyone over at my neighbor's house. And we found some fire extinguishers. We fucking just beat the shit out of this house. I was the only one that all my friends were 17. I was 18.
Yeah.
Cops come. They took the adult.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget. So I'll never forget my father came in the jail and I was begging them not to let me out. Literally begging them because I knew it was going to happen.
Right.
And he's driving down the road, punching me.
Yeah.
And driving, never skipped a beat. He was literally perfect, stayed within the lines. And he was just kicking the shit out of me. But he forgave me.
Yeah.
He after that beating, he never held it against me.
Yeah.
He let it go. And so with my kids, I always try and live by the moniker of, they're going to make mistakes. I
Yeah.
made plenty of mistakes,
Yeah.
and I just try and forget about it and
Yeah.
move forward.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That was always the message, at least from my dad too. It was like, dude, if you're fucked up, call me. You're not gonna get in trouble. Like, I'd rather you be home, thrown up in my fucking bathroom, than you driving and getting in a fucking car wreck and die. Like,
well,
crash and
the
die.
best part about it was that I found out it was like 2 weeks after I had gotten in trouble. So we were like I said, we were next door. We were listening to fucking house music. We were having a great time. The person that called the cops was my fucking mother, not knowing that I was the one that was next door.
Nice. Awesome.
She's the one that called the cops on it, not knowing I was there. So it was funny.
Excellent.
So just let's bring it back to what you were saying before. So it's been what, 20 years since do you consider it like self-medicating? Are you just trying to like?
Well, I don't drink all the time. Recently, more or less, I'm worried about my son's college bills.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to not have him take out a loan.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been saving for him. The both of
Mm-hmm.
us, him and his mother and I, have been
Mm-hmm.
saving for him since really putting an effort into it since he was about 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But when you start to see the prices,
Mm-hmm.
so the school he's going to is $16,000 a year. He doesn't want to live there.
Yeah.
It's within driving distance.
Yeah.
So he got a $7,000 a year scholarship.
Great.
So it's going to be $9,000.
Okay.
Well, we have 2 years saved up for him.
Yeah.
I want to try and save the other 4 years for him without him having to take out a loan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of stress,
Mm-hmm.
and I think about it a lot because I just see some of his friends that graduated already. They're 1 year in, they're $30,000 in debt.
Yeah.
And how do you recover?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. So I'm projected 4 years down the line.
Yeah.
These kids are going to get out with $100,000 in debt. When I got divorced, I'm not shy about it at all. There was my first 2 weeks when we sold our house. She had a house that we had bought for her. I think I was a little bit too much thinking about my kids' opinions.
Yeah.
And we bought her a house.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first 2 weeks that we sold my house, I lived in my truck.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was embarrassing. It just it was what it was, and I was fucking. I had no money.
Yeah.
I had to save up to rent an apartment before I bought a condo. So for 5 years, I was literally living on nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And my child support is $400 a week.
Mm-hmm.
It was a daunting task.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want my kids to ever go into a situation to where they're worried about their paycheck on Friday, which they might fuck up when they get older.
Yeah.
But I would like to set them up to where when they get out of school, the
Yeah.
most important thing to them is choosing which place they want to work at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think about it a little bit too much than I probably should.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's valid. I'm a product of I put myself through and took out the loans and then had to deal with debt in my 20s and into my 30s. And it's nice it would be amazing. It's a pipe dream for me, in my perspective, to not have come out with that kind of a debt, to just even be at even, is amazing in this day and age. So cheers to you for that.
Yeah. So did you so that's the stress that hangs over you?
Pretty much. That's all I have for stress.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years to pay off all my debts.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I would attack one bill and move on to the next one. It literally, like, when I mean lean fucking times, and I'm not shy about it. Like there was periods of time where like I would have to choose between paying a bill, being able to go on a date with a girl, or you know what, I'm gonna sit home and jerk off and make sure that my bill's paid. Like there was some shit times. I probably now I wish I had lived like that when I was younger, rather than worrying about making sure my kids had a huge backyard and that they had 2 bathrooms. If one was shit and the other one could piss in the other one, I worried about the wrong things.
Yeah.
So now I think it definitely prepared me to be able to give good advice to my kids.
Yeah.
But that is the only stress that I have now. That is literally the only thing that I have left to worry about, is making sure that I provide for them pretty much all the money to get through school without worrying about cracking a huge
Yeah.
nut at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I'm bummed that we can't manage this. We can't give a good diagnosis and a prescription for our guy. Because
we talked about this for a while.
I did a good deep dive on this.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I wasn't trying to. I mean, the obvious is that you can't prescribe marijuana to a truck driver. That's the way that goes. But I did start kind of looking around a little bit more. And I got on the the DOT.gov website and just kind of looking at stuff for transportation. And I mean, even CBD, they won't endorse it because it's not a federally regulated. It's not regulated by the FDA. So if it's not regulated by the FDA, they could say, listen, you got to worry about cross contamination, even if they claim it's not a cannabis product. If it contains THC and it has THC in it, and he tests positive in a test, you can't claim that I was trying to take CBD like that. It says very specifically on the site, this is not an excuse. Basically,
it's like I have earlier tonight before I seen you guys, I was at my uncle's house. We make wine. We make a lot of wine, and we were bottling wine tonight.
Nice.
And I was talking to my uncle, and I didn't know this about him. I'd never asked him, and I told him I was going on with some guys. He said, "What do they talk about?" I was like, "Well, they
fucking
said,
weed."
If I'm going to be honest, they talk about weed. And he goes, "Well, I just tried an edible for the first time."
Whoa,
nice.
Okay.
And he said that it was the most fucked up he had ever been.
Yeah.
But he said, I woke up the next morning, I felt great.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I was like, well, that's great. I can't fucking do it. I'd like to try it. Maybe it would get rid of some anxiety or whatnot.
Yeah.
But he said he took a full one, and I was like, I heard you're supposed to take a half one for the first time.
I mean, I guess it depends on the milligrams. But is he a smoker in general, or just
no? He doesn't.
So this was his first sort of experience.
He has smoked it in the past. He doesn't do it a lot,
right?
But he said he likes tequila. And he said he was into some tequila. They had like a social distancing party at his house. There were just some people around.
With tequila involved, eh?
My poor old aunt, who's in a fucking wheelchair, they wheeled her in the next room, and they were having a great time in the kitchen.
Move her on the side.
And someone gave him a fucking edible, and he said he was just destroyed.
Awesome.
But he said he woke up, he felt better than ever.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to get some more of them. I said, you should probably do some research into them before you decide on what you want to do. But he could not talk more highly about it.
As a scientist, because I do work in clinical research, I have always known that there has been some literature that supports a lot of the health benefits to cannabis. And, for me, a person who has suffered from, stress and anxiety and things, and I have been medicated for a while. I have gone through those, therapy, blah, 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 whatever. And for months now, with his advice, I have been using this regularly. And I don't know, man. I mean, like, we're in a pretty stressful time. I mean, but I can honestly say that there's something about it that has helped me get through this time. And I and again, my wife will say this, like, with her feet to the fire, but like I am a different person. And so again, like, I wish we could sort of give you some helpful feedback.
Now that said, and that said, topical. So like what we hear about on Kirk's show, the Omax, those guys that are sponsoring Barstool and kind of trickle into some of the Kirk ads. It sounds like that topical. From what I've read up on, like any kind of gels or creams that you're putting on the skin, no issues there. I don't think you're going to run into too many troubles with that. And then I think what we can do is we can kind of look at some of the CBD breaks into like three kind of categories. Basically, like a lot of THC, broad spectrum, which is kind of like in the middle, which is like a little bit of THC, and then straight from like the hemp plant, which is like a different species. It's not the actual like cannabis plant, so to speak. And a lot of companies claim to pull from that hemp plant. Now, if we find somebody that's pretty well reviewed or like has some good ratings and reviews, I think that might be something you could be interested in, or might want to.
Absolutely,
you could consider ingesting, Steve. But again, still a lot of risk there, though. I mean, it would have to be something that's pretty tried and tested and proven, that isn't getting cross contaminated or getting fucked with weed. You don't want somebody mixing their shit with weed, essentially.
There's a lot of variables as far as myself. One. And this is why I admire Kirk so much more than on this part of what he's open about. he's able to go if he needs help or he's got something on his mind that he feels he needs to address. He goes and takes care of it. For myself, I have the constant worry, like I was told you guys, is about making sure I put away money for my kids. If I was to say I need to disappear for 2 weeks, guys, like I need to address something, I would have in the back of my mind, all right, I'm helping myself, but at the same time, I think I'm affecting my kids. I have this constant worry about saving $200 a week per kid for college. That's never going to go away until they're done, until they get their cap and gown.
That's a discipline. That's a discipline now, though. I bet. Yeah.
My work, any sort of failure on a piss test, it's a death sentence as far as DOT is concerned. They don't give second chances. They take 2 samples of the same urinalysis. If you fail, you're done, and you're not going to get hired. Rhode Island's a very small place. Word gets around quickly.
It's over.
Nowadays, everything's done on the computer. So if I fail at my work, it goes on a database, and a new employer pulls from that same database. So there's no hiding anything anymore. It's not word of mouth or basically if I tell you, listen, I'm great, no problems whatsoever, you take me at word. They basically take your DOT card, your physical card, and you're all done from there. And
so unless you're wearing that knee out on the basketball court, using some topicals, that's the only relief you're getting from.
I mean, I don't know, what am I supposed to do? Rub a topical on my forehead? You know what I mean? Like,
it ain't gonna work, brother. No, it ain't gonna do shit for that brain. It ain't gonna help that brain, unfortunately.
I do kind of envy the fact that a lot of people do say that from maybe trying some marijuana or maybe an edible or something, it helps them out. And I envy them, and I wish I could try it. Right now, I literally cannot do that unless I was to get put out of work for an extended period of time. Have a doctor's prescription to try it. But at that point, I'm putting the amount of money that I'm able to help my kids with at risk. That's just a fact. There's very little that I can do right now with that. But that's why, I listen to your guys' show all the time, and I like it because you guys know what you're talking about. You're open to a discussion about either opinion that either of you gentlemen has about it, and you're not afraid to contradict each other. So I mean, I really enjoy it. I really do.
Thanks, what's the retirement clock? What do we got? I know you got it down
25 years.
Oh, it's still going. Okay.
I got a long time, man.
All right.
Like I said, the day that I retire, I'm getting a bag of cocaine. And I am gonna go.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Nice.
I'm gonna try it.
Well, you're only 40 minutes away, so we should all do it together.
Absolutely. So you can wheel me up there, and I'm gonna get fucked up. I'm gonna buy an 8-ball for myself. This is a retirement gift.
So I just want to ask a couple questions real quickly. I know you have a 30-minute cap on yours, but you typically go an hour.
We always go over and fuck up.
I don't fucking care. I don't give a shit. But I hope you've been having a right time with us.
Yeah, it's a great time.
So I messaged you this, but so do you know anybody's in the that have served or that are continuing to serve that have suffered from some of the PTSD or any of those things that that we are all very concerned about?
So keep in mind, so I was a desert trained unit. When I was my last year and a half, we were part of a desert trained unit. We were stationed in 29 Palms, which is basically the only so that base right there is used for all other companies around the United States. They go there in order to train to go to do desert training. So my unit was one of the first ones that was deployed overseas. Luckily, I had gotten out within that time frame to where they started sending guys overseas. Now I got out. A lot of guys stayed in because, like I said, it was the 4 years that I was in. There was nothing going on. So you're looking at it as, all right, this is going to be a candy job for 20 years. I got 16 more years after my 4. It's going to be nothing. A lot of guys have seen action, and a lot of guys got killed. There was this guy Walker that I was in with that lived a couple rooms over from me. He got killed. And a lot of guys were overseas with him when that happened. And I talked to them on Facebook. I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh yeah, I reach out to them all the time to see how everything's going, but it affects them. It really does. And a lot of them go to the VA. They spend a lot of time at the VA. But the military, and you can see it on TV. A lot of times what you see online about or on TV about the complaints about military hospitals is exactly true.
Like what?
These guys aren't taken care of the way that they should be. A lot of keep in mind, you've got thousands of guys that are in and out of these places on a daily basis. If you had 100 guys that you had to talk to in a day, you can't give it the sort of attention that you would if you had 5 guys in a day. So they in and out. They random basic generalization of prescriptions, treatments. There's not so much that's given. Not so much effort that's given to each individual person. They're getting better at it, a lot better at it, from what I'm told. But for the most part, when this really just first started off, it was just a blanket treatment to a lot of guys. But it has.
So a person suffering from these symptoms, here's your prescriptions.
Yeah.
Come back once a week, and then that's it, and then go on your way.
Well, think about this: you go overseas, you get your leg or your arm blown off. You come back, they fix you till they feel that you're able to go off on your own. And then they just shove you out into civilian life, and you come back if you got a problem. Well, that's not how it should work, in my opinion. I mean,
it's crazy, and I mean, especially, and I'm just thinking because of this administration, they're so vocal about how they support and love the military, and that's typical, I think, for a Republican president, and how many trillions of dollars. But like, how much of that is going toward their aftercare? Like, it seems like it's all going toward like military development and to make us like the strongest nation in the world, so no one can fuck with us. But it doesn't seem like it's really allocated to the people who come back.
Fact,
yeah. It's a tough thing. And first off, I mean, I'll be upfront. I love this president. I do.
I'm a fan.
I don't know if I love listening to him talk as much. But I'm a Republican. But I do know that there's a lot to be said for. You can brag and boast about having the best military in the world. But I think a lot more effort should be put into the aftercare. The aftercare is so much more important. Like myself, there's nothing that happened in the military that I carry forward, unless you call waking up next to a 400-pound woman a traumatic experience. There's not a lot that I did when I was
that could be traumatic.
There's not a lot that I did when I was in.
Depends on who we're talking to.
You got some PTSD from that?
Fair.
I've woken up next to some battleships.
I've dealt with lesser men. I've prescribed for lesser men, Steve.
I'm not saying.
That's
Listen,
hilarious.
times are tough. When there's 100 guys on base and 4 girls, I mean, sometimes you can't be too choosy.
That's how it goes, bub.
But I do hope and pray that for these guys that are over there now, that a lot of them are taken care of when they get out. I mean, it's not even so much money. Money, it's great. You can buy a lot of things with money, but I know that myself. I deal with a lot of things that, and this strictly has to do with, I think, my father. I never went and sought a lot of professional help. Sometimes I feel uncomfortable with it. I can only imagine watching guys get killed around you, how that's going to affect you down the line. Where sometimes if my kids do something that's fucked up, I might flip out for a second, and I'm like, all right, what are you doing? What are you getting mad about? Think about if you watch some guy's head got blown off, or you come back,
I can't even imagine.
A freaking arm or a leg, or you can't see out of one eye. How are you going to respond in a stressful situation?
No, it blows my mind that, and again, I mean, we've said it a million times. I feel like I'm a broken record now, but that, you can get prescribed some of these pills that will numb this effect or take this anxiety away, but it'll also scramble your brain, stop your dick from working, numb you to the world, whatever the case may be. And it could be for hours, days, months, weeks, months at a time. And if you choose to mess with a plant, that you jeopardize all your benefits, all your status, anything that you'd earned, that you so duly earned while there. It blows my mind.
And Steve, that's what we're following now, because Massachusetts is still, and I'm not sure if you know this, being in Rhode Island, but Massachusetts is the only state of all of the states that have legalized marijuana. It's the only one that has shut down the recreational dispensaries, and so therefore a lot of vets who are experiencing some serious symptoms and sensations can't get their cannabis, because a lot of them, there's a lot of
not legally anyway.
No, not legal. Right. So exactly. So a lot of the stigma about like going through the whole medical marijuana process and getting your, registration, getting your card, and there's a lot of like hesitancy.
There's no way they're going to register medically, because that's a state medical designation wouldn't help them federally with their benefits.
Well, I will also say this. I mean, I think there's going to be some sort of designation, because I've, just like you guys probably know, guys that have smoked weed all the way since back in high school, where
This guy.
I see guys now that are bragging and they're just happy that they have a car now where they can do it legally,
Yeah.
where they don't need it for any medical needs.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. They just don't want to get arrested.
Yeah.
And then I mean those guys right there. When we're in a situation like we are right now, where we're trying to protect the majority of people, I don't have a lot of sympathy for the people that are doing it mainly so they don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
I have a lot of sympathy for the people that need it.
Yeah.
For someone that suffers with daily, things that might trouble their mind and inhibit their production as a person.
Yeah.
So basically, at the end of the day today, you guys have provided me with zero advice in order to help myself. We just had a good conversation. We had a good conversation.
All we did was
so I guess that no. So if you want to have that conversation. So basically, it just comes down to So what are we capable of providing in terms of advice, right? So clearly, it's not going to be cannabis based because that's not going to fly. And I'm not an advocate for using alcohol to treat any symptoms because that can get completely out of hand, right?
Sure.
So what else you have is just healthy lifestyle
I
stuff,
go back
right?
to the physical stuff.
So
you're playing your fucking basketball.
I'll tell you guys a quick story. So my friend and I share we both see a therapist every now and then. And about a month ago, I had made an appointment to see her. And she says, the only thing I can do for you is Zoom, pretty much like a FaceTime
call,
thing. So I'm over at my buddy's house helping him move a dresser. And I was talking to him, and her name is Kelly that we go to. I'm not going to say her, but her name's Kelly. I was like, I can't get a fucking appointment. He says, I just left her office. I was like, this motherfucker. So I left his house.
Special treatment?
I'm banging on the door.
That's like with Steve with like the fucking with the number for you guys.
So I
number.
fucking go in there. There's some guy. I complete asshole move on my part. I open the door. There's some poor bastard sitting there in a puddle of tears, fucking crying his eyes out. I was like,
you
what
busted
the fuck?
in on that guy?
That's like a crime, isn't it?
FaceTime, and this asshole is able to get a one-on-one meeting, and I fucking left. It was fucking
hilarious.
It was fucking a mess. But yeah,
she doesn't. What does she think? You got the cooties or something?
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but that's a true story. And if I told a couple of guys about it, they thought it was funny. But I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Wow.
I just want to talk.
Wow.
So that was all. But I think going forward, just going to try and be more, put more of a better effort into making sure I do show up to do my meetings whenever I do make them, or whenever she suggests that I need to make them. Pardon me?
AA meetings or her meetings with the person?
Meetings with the therapist. Don't fucking try and take my liquor away from me right now.
Not yet.
You said meetings. That's yeah.
No, I call them meetings. Whatever.
Yeah.
Talk to a therapist.
Yeah.
I should try and be a little bit more proactive with that. But there's not a lot. I mean, even pills. I can't be drowsy when I'm at work.
Yeah.
I have to be alert. I mean, you're typically hauling around 12,000 gallons of gasoline.
Yeah.
So the last thing that I want to do is fall asleep behind the wheel.
Right.
I can't go on some things that kind of lower your moods down into where you feel a little drowsy.
Yeah.
Because it could inhibit my decision making.
Yeah. Well, I heard your story. I heard your story about hitting the guardrail.
That was during with Kevin. Yes.
Yeah.
That's 100% true. Where I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
That I hit a guardrail.
Nice.
And there's cameras in the truck, and all you see on the camera is me laughing. And then the next thing you see me do is bounce off the guardrail. I'm swearing at the top of my lungs. That was Kevin's fault. But so with that being said, my thing just came up like a 5% battery. I can't talk to you guys and keep my phone charged at the same time.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say to you guys, as far as someone that has followed Kirk since his start, that loves what's going on right now, I know you had some questions about whether or not this is a place that you belong. I will tell you that if this is something that you're truly passionate about, and whether 10 people watch it or 1,000 people watch it, I would always suggest that you guys keep doing what you're doing, because it gets better every time.
Thanks, Bob.
I enjoy it. So if I enjoy it, then I don't give a fuck if anyone else does. So I appreciate it. I like the fact that you guys are passionate about what you're talking about. And I would just say keep pushing through. Hopefully as many people watch it as you want to in your mind. But I enjoy it, and I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, brother. We really appreciate
that, Steve. Thank you, man.
All right. I'm going to bail.
Go out. We love you. Take care.
Guys, take care.
All right, brother.
Thank you, Steve. Awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Love that he I mean, it's kind of an interesting one where we can't necessarily get what we want out of a diagnosis. It's like wait till, it's a good it's almost like a good headline grab, like the guy that comes on Super Lemon Haze that can't be diagnosed on weed,
I mean, we were just saying is like, what else can we offer? Is just like you just live a healthy lifestyle, right? I mean, like
the only other thing
we know what else you can do. It's just, so you can see a therapist, you can get lots of sleep, you can eat well, you can exercise.
And if we had more time, and I'm sure he'll hear this in a few minutes, in a little while when he wakes up and he's driving the truck at an ungodly hour, is I would throw out there that there's time to
come here, motherfucker.
Come here, Duke.
Come here.
The only other thing I would say is
come over
here. Is chance you can wake up a little bit earlier and get a little cardio in, or get a little workout in, work the routine, something like that. But that would be the only other thing, and that's a shitty thing to add. It's a shitty suggestion at the end of the day. But I mean, gives a little routine, a little bit extra routine of things. He's talking about not being drowsy on the job too. Get that hour of 45 minutes of like getting that heart rate up before you go into the job.
Yeah.
I mean, for him, that's probably getting up at fucking midnight or something horrible. Like, I don't even know what that equals, but that'd be the only other thing I would throw out there, or find a spot where you can, get that little bit of exercise in or something like that. But
yeah, I mean, there's obviously always the meditation piece too. So that's another thing. It's almost like therapy. Like a lot of guys are adverse to taking some of that advice, doing meditation, like meditation or yoga or something like that. Like that shit helps. I know it does.
Yeah.
So
some of my best times, some of my best, like happiest Sunday mornings have been after some yoga for sure. And I know that sounds pretty cheesy too, but it's for real.
Yeah. Quick shout out to Erica Nardini, man. I'm fucking loving her new podcast, and she's been promoting her running club. And just because of the 5K coming up, I decided to buy some gear. So I got my Erica Nardini, Nardini running club hat. So
loving that podcast. Strategic as hell. Very business focused. Love it.
We have our new profiles coming out this week. So our patient profiles. So it's starting tomorrow. Actually, no, when you see this,
already out.
This,
right?
It'll be already out. But catch up with those. Everyone, peace. Thanks for listening.
Super Lemon Haze.
Super Lemon Haze, motherfucker.
What is this?
Is it over?
We're running out of time.
I don't want to hear your excuses.
No, it's not fair.
Where'd all the finals go? Oh!